Hey everyone, it's Robin here at the Good Place Bench, part of the International Conference of Urban Health. And I'm joined here by Detlev from Berlin, I bumped into. And I'm curious to hear more about what brought you to Marrakech and what is it you do to improve urban health?
You want a short story or you want a long story?
We have all the time.
Okay. Well, as you can see, I'm not the youngest anymore. So I've been to Marrakech before.
Good.
About 50 years ago.
Nice.
I worked in a hospital here in Marrakech as an intern. So I visited again the old hospital where I worked for a year. So Marrakech is not my hometown, but I love Marrakech.
Okay.
And then I'm a medical doctor and was various places in the world. I'm German, as you may have heard by the accent. And I was in Heidelberg. Then I'm a pharmacologist. I'm working on high blood pressure and treatment of high blood pressure. And of course, you can treat it by drugs, which are very efficient. I contributed to developing these drugs. But blood pressure is a wonderful disease, which you can also prevent by lifestyle, by reducing weight. Every kilogram you lose is 1 millimeter mercury blood pressure down.
All right.
Okay, and sportive activities. So blood pressure, like many other cardiovascular diseases, are examples of what you can do for your own health, your own responsibility, if the circumstances allow. Okay. So this was in Heidelberg, and then German reunification came about, and then I was asked to go to Berlin, and I founded an institute on molecular medicine, the by now famous Max Delbrück Center for Molecular Medicine in Berlin. Great. So if you come to Berlin, you're cordially invited. I'll show you around.
Yes.
And this institute was based on molecular biology, cell biology, genetics, genomics, to discover the origin of health and disease. And this is, of course, is a clinical problem also. It's basic research and clinics. And then I was asked to be head of the Charité, which is the university hospital in East Berlin.
Okay.
In West Berlin, they had another university system with 2 campuses. And I was asked to join, after German reunification, the East Berlin and the West Berlin medical universities to the Charité University of Medicine Berlin. To unite them. And the Charité had one very famous professor 200 years ago, Rudolf Virchow. And he was the one who really developed with the best of science available in 1850 with optics and biochemistry and chemistry, which were developing at that time, the basis of cellular pathology. He was describing the cell, Rudolf Virchow, the cell as the part of the body where you can see whether a person is sick or healthy. Okay, and of course treatment of disease. So this was very close to what we did at the Max Delbrück Center. But Rudolf Virchow went beyond that. He said medicine is a social science, and politics should be nothing else but medicine at a larger scale. So as a medical doctor, you just wait until a person gets sick and then try to do what you can do, but you have to help that he remains healthy.
Yeah.
And Rudolf Virchow is my hero.
Yeah.
So now I'm a retired CEO of the Charité.
Okay.
So I created the World Health Summit, which is a forum for global health, where we convene people from all over the world to discuss what can be done to make this world healthier.
Yeah.
And now you're asking why I am in Marrakech? Because here there's a congress on urban health.
Absolutely.
Okay, and they invited me to come, and I very happily agreed because I've never been invited by a society which purpose is to think about urban health.
Yeah.
But I think it's very intelligent because in the cities you commit all the sins, not in favor of health, but at the same time it's a concentration of people, of money, of facilities, of culture, where you can do something for health. So I think urban
And the cities are growing.
and the cities are growing.
So
Yeah,
more people
more than 60% already are now living in cities, and will soon be 75%. So of the 8 billion people, 6 billion living in cities. Okay, so this is an area where, if you want to do something for health in the world, urban health is the way to go, and I'm learning about urban health here. And it's a very interesting meeting. Marrakech, a wonderful city, happy people actually,
Yeah.
very hospitable, very friendly, and friendly people get less sick than people who are always angry and never content. Okay.
And how is Marrakech different than those 50 years ago?
It's actually, much of it is still the same. I mean, I was working in the center of the city. In the center of the city, the souk, Place Jama Efna, all these old places, well, there are some renovations and so on, but the atmosphere is still the same. What changed in Marrakech is the surrounding. This center, this museum of water, did not exist before, and of course, Marrakech is an affluent city, it's an attractive city, wonderful climate, nice people, wonderful culture. The Atlas Mountains, not so far. The Atlantic Ocean, Casablanca, not so far. So it's a wonderful city with culture and old tradition. Has become bigger, but it's the same city, I feel.
It's my first time, so you already convinced me.
Come back.
I will come back for sure. With
I
your
can tell you something more about Marrakech, what's nice about it.
okay, go ahead.
Yeah. In case you don't ask the question.
No,
Okay.
go for it.
The nice thing about Morocco is Morocco was a French department, as Algeria and Tunisia and all the other North African regions. The king of Morocco, actually, well, the transition to independence was without bloodshed, was a smooth transition, and you know, the kind of colonial past in a way didn't hurt the country and didn't hurt the relationship between France and Morocco. And the king is the patron of the Muslim, of course, but also of the Christians and the Jews and other religions. And this, I think, brings peace and freedom and nice living conditions and liberal ways of working together and getting along. That makes the atmosphere, hospitality, wonderful. And that is different from many other countries where religion is such a dominant factor and or other attitudes which kind of exclude people from outside or people of other believers. So it's a wonderful, tolerant city. And nice to be here. Come back.
Good, very good, Detlev. Nice. I mean, I also want to catch back to your track record within as a medical doctor, as a CEO, of the Charité. What is it you are sharing here in this conference, or what are you hoping to find within this conference as a participant?
I'm learning. And learning, you're so young, is the most important in life. Education and learning and always being curious. So I wanted to get to know this organization, what they're doing, what they're discussing. But in addition, I'd been approached to come because I'm a member of the German National Academy, and there are some people here from other academies. And the academies, academia in general, is not taking enough responsibility for the problems of daily life and of what's going on in society. Many times they are kind of distant. They do valuable research and work, but they are distant from the problems of the population. And urban health, of course, is such a problem of the inhabitants of a city, and all of them, any kind of member of life in the city. So the academies want to do more than before, and we agreed, and I'm just coming out of a discussion that we will have a meeting of all national academies around the world. There's an inter-academy partnership, IAP, of 150 academies. We will organize a meeting in Germany next year and get everybody involved, academia, politics, private sector, and civil society, discuss what can be done to make life in the cities healthier and less stressful than it is in some of the cities. Some of the cities are no healthy places to live in. No. And for children, sometimes it's very difficult to have a happy and healthy life. Yeah. And that's not possible in times where the means are available to improve the situation. Yeah. And we have to do something for it. And academies have a big responsibility. And this is the reason why I'm here. And this, by the way, is the reason why I'm happy to talk to you, because I'm sure you will distribute your movie or whatever interview all around the world and tell everybody has to contribute to a healthier and happier life.
That's quite a closing statement. But before we get there, what is a good place, Detlev? And you already gave the answer, that everybody should contribute to a better and healthier life. Is it if everybody contributes to a better and healthier life, that will lead eventually to a good place?
Well, there are already now some cities where it's easier to live than in other cities. But amazingly, cities, none of the cities are homogeneous. If you live in certain parts of a city, you can have a happy and healthy life, sometimes depending on your personal or your parents' income and the way what they can afford. Yeah. So the difference of life expectancy in some of the cities, London, Berlin, big cities, New York, Chicago, any city you take, Tokyo, Shanghai, can be 10 years or more. If you have good living conditions, you are happier, you're good, your nutrition is good, you're educated, you take care of yourself. If you live somewhere in a quarter where the poor people, they have no access to medicine, they have not enough food to eat, and it's not healthy. So and equalize the life in the cities and do whatever you can to make it comparable across the cities is already an instant task. You don't have to travel around for that. You can do actually work for it. Yeah. But then, of course, there are some examples of cities which are being built in a modern way with green and facilities of all kinds and good education. And I don't want to give you examples now because, but you said Dutch cities in general. Holland is a rich country, and the cities you go on bicycle, you do a lot of sports, you have the water around you and the seas, you can swim, so that's not a bad life. If you take Gaza or other parts of the world, you cannot have a happy and healthy life. Other forces prevent you from doing that. But there are cities like a new city is Singapore. Yeah. I know Singapore 50 years ago, and this was not a healthy city. This was a rotten city, if I may say so. Okay. Now money is coming in, and all the companies want to have their headquarters in Singapore, and they have let me put it that way, they have a very efficient government. Yeah. So they are building it, but they know the needs of the people, and they try to make it a very livable place.
What's your good place, Detlev?
my good place, the place where I like to live, or what's the question?
You have a place which is your good place?
Well, Marrakech is a wonderful place. I like to come back to Marrakech. Yesterday I've seen old friends. And first of all, you see the tradition. And I like to see the history, you know, and the La Koutoubia and the wall of Marrakech around and all that kind of, you know, seeing the history and maintaining these buildings over times is a wonderful signal of the vitality of a city. And then what is nice in this country, but in most Arabic countries around the Mediterranean, the hospitality, wonderful hospitality. They're joyful people. They open their house. They provide hospitality with the little or the much they have. So it's a happy place. I'm not sure not everybody is happy probably, but they share what they like to do, and so the atmosphere is nice and welcome. So I like to be here. But I like to be in Holland. I like to be wherever there. I love Berlin, yes. I didn't know Berlin before German reunification at all. And Berlin is kind of the laboratory of the new Germany. I mean, we have had let's put it that way, very interesting and changing history. And Berlin has always been in the center of this history. And seeing the history, seeing the tradition, we talked about Rudolf Virchow, was a great history. And now it's rebuilding as a modern city, and East and West coming together, and different attitudes, different lifestyles. Actually, very international. Have you been to Berlin?
Many times.
Some young people like Berlin because there are so many discos and other things, but there are 3 symphony orchestras, there are 4 operas, and there's a lot of music, a lot of culture, many theaters, very interesting intellectual life. So Berlin, and has become a science city again. So yeah, I like Berlin.
Nice, Detlev. You have a lot of good places.
Yes.
But I like to hear you talk about Marrakech, but also about your vision on what we all should do as a 2024 citizen of the world, that we all need to be involved in the problem solving part, not just wait for it to happen.
You expressed it very well. I couldn't say it better.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Detlev. Can shake your hand.
It was my pleasure.
Have a great conference and enjoy your time here in Marrakech. And for everyone watching, until the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.